How's it going, everyone? My name is Trev Barnes. Thank you so much for joining me for another Joy of Creating video. Let's roll that intro. So recently I've been getting a couple comments of genres and styles that you guys want me to try to make. So Jasmine McPherson says, could you make a jazz song? I absolutely love jazz. It's literally the only thing that plays in my home when I'm working or when we're cooking. It's definitely one of my favorite genres. But going into this video, I realized I've never really played jazz. So this will probably get a little interesting as I don't really know anything about jazz chords. And like I said, I've never really attempted it, but let's fire up Logic Pro and try it anyway. All right, so I should probably start with piano just to lay out my chords, get a good sense of where we're going. I'm gonna try to use the OPW, which is a fantastic sounding piano. So I think I have a chord progression that I'm gonna stick with. Our time signature is gonna be 3/4. So my notes throughout playing that aren't exactly consistent. So I'm going to highlight all of these. I'm going to go to functions, MIDI transform, and then random velocity. And we're basically going to set a velocity boundary. So I want my hardest note to hit at around 70, and I want my softest note to hit around 60. We're going to go ahead and hit operate only, and that'll just make more consistent notes, but all of these are at different value. I'm also going to copy these root notes down to bass notes. All right, so now I'm going to go ahead and find some drums to layer over top of that. We're not really looking for crazy production or anything like that. And really, we're probably just going to use an overhead. All right, so I'm going to use EZdrummer's custom shop kit. And I don't want the drums to be cutting through the mix. I want them to just sizzle kind of in the background. So I only have the overhead, ride, and the hi-hat channels soloed. I want it to be very close and intimate, kind of like we're all just in this small room together listening to the song. So I'm going to start with just layering the hi-hat, ride, and the kick. And then I'm going to add a snare and some toms here in a second. So for the drums, we're just going to do some very light processing. I'll probably start by putting a preamp on, and we're just going to kind of dirty that up a little bit. All right, now we're going to compress that very lightly. And then we're going to throw on an EQ, and we're really just filtering out a lot of high frequencies that are going to be distracting. All right, and let's go ahead and add an upright bass. In my opinion, there's only one good upright bass in Logic, and that is the upright studio bass. I find that the other two just sound a little too sampled. So something interesting that I think I'm gonna do, I wanna pan the instruments like we're in the room watching it happen. Because in traditional music production, you know, bass goes up the middle, drums go up the middle. But I wanna kind of take this in the perspective that we're looking in a small jazz club. My upright bass is gonna be to my right, my piano player is gonna be to my left. So something that we're gonna have to change, since this piano is a stereo signal, we're gonna go ahead and right click on our pan knob, and we're going to change that to stereo pan. Our normal pan just takes the signal right up the middle and will push it to the left or the right, but the stereo pan will take in consideration the stereo signal. So it'll move sort of what's in the middle, but keep the stereo width on the outsides. So I want to put in a melody that's going to play throughout the song. I'm not a good piano player by any means. I would like to say that this is one of the most relaxing videos that I've made. I live in Florida, and this morning it was 64 degrees outside. I'm drinking some really good new coffee, and I'm making light jazz. This is the best morning that I've had in a while. So I think I've got a good place to start. I'm gonna start structuring the song so we can do a little guitar solo improv over it. So I added in this end part that just slows down and kind of just breaks away. I want it to be a little more dramatic. So what I'm going to do is change the tempo of just the last part. And to do that, we click this little icon right here. We go to our tempo and we click where we want it to change. And we can either just hard change the tempo or we can kind of dive into it. So to kind of glide our tempo down, we need to click a spot where that tempo is going to start decreasing. So I'm going to go ahead and click this right here. And then we're going to take this and we are just going to pull it inward. And this is what that sounds like. And of course, to record guitar, we have to have a semi-hollow body. I mean, you don't have to, but you know what I mean. It's jazz. All right, so I'm just gonna noodle, just play what I feel across it, and we'll just see how it goes. All right, so we're just gonna do one final step, and that's just to throw a couple plugins on it to get it sounding close to being mixed and mastered. The first plugin that I'm gonna throw on it is the Teak A6100 by IK Multimedia. So what I'm gonna do is just give it some analog presence and warmth. We're gonna set the tape speed to low because it's gonna roll a little more off the top and it's gonna sound a lot more warm. But what I'm doing is I'm just gonna balance, which means I'm gonna bring the input up the same amount that I'm gonna bring the output down. So right now it's sitting at 5. I'm gonna bring it to 6. The output is sitting at 5, so we're gonna bring it down to 4. And lastly, we are going to put on Master Desk by Brainworks. And we do not want to compress this a lot at all, but we do want to get it up to normal loudness. So if you're listening to this on speakers or headphones, just know this is going to get a little bit louder. All right, so I think we are pretty much done with the track. Let's go ahead and listen to what we got. Since it's starting to feel like fall in Florida, I'm gonna call this one Autumn. So, thank you guys so much again for watching. If you enjoyed this video, I do hope that you consider subscribing. If you have a project that needs mixing, mastering, instrumentation, or full-on production, please visit the links below, as you'll find a project request form that you can go ahead and send over. Also, check out my affiliate links, it does help the channel. But most importantly, I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.